A lot of ground to cover with this Sunday video report. Let's get right to it. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, General Manager at DeMarcoSports.com. As you know, over the past 27 Sundays, dating back to last season, with the NFL complimentary plays, I'm on a 55, 34, and 3 roll. 55, 34, and 3 roll with the NFL complimentary plays that I'm giving away to you for free. I've got 5 of them today, 4 side selections, and then I want to talk about a teaser as well. Now, yesterday, the complimentary plays, as you know, I always tell you what the top play is going to be. I had won the top play on Saturday, 6 of the 7 previous weeks, but yesterday, the top play, Kansas State, did not get there. So 6-2 the last 8 weeks. And overall, yesterday, the comp plays just didn't fare well. It was the first losing comp play Saturday in 4 weeks as they went 1-4 overall, not only losing Kansas State, but also losing with Ohio State, Eastern Michigan, SMU, with the lone winner being Baylor. But you know what? They were complimentary plays. What mattered the most was that my latest raise the bar 20 dime release cashed in again as Miami of Florida got the job done by the skin of my teeth, laying 21, winning by 22 over Florida State. And just like the previous Saturday, when Missouri had that miraculous cover against Auburn, it bears repeating. It doesn't matter whether you cover by a half point, cover by 1 point, or cover by 22 points. A win is a win, and they don't pay you any less depending on the margin of victory. And for as many times we as gamblers and as a handicapper, we lose those games by the slimmest of margins, we're allowed to win and be lucky, and that's okay. And the bottom line is this. Over at DeMarcoSports.com today, I'm pressing the action once more. Raise the bar 20 dime mismatch of the month. It's one of the 8 games that goes at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. I am now 15-5 with those raise the bar 20 dime releases over the past 2 seasons. That's college and pro. 8-2 this season. 4-1 in the NFL, 4-1 in college. The most recent NFL play, the Ravens, taking care of business at Tampa on Monday night. And every single one of those plays you've got in as the half price play of the day. Nothing is different today. Half price using coupon code HALF, HALF, and that is available over at DeMarcoSports.com. Listen, I believe in talking about the good and the bad. I've always believed in total transparency since I started these sites 23 years ago, since I started doing these videos, at least here on this particular channel, some 15, 16 years ago. You know how many times I've talked about Rick Torino, how much money he's made, gamblers in football, college, and pro over the 2.5 years since he's been over at DeMarcoSports.com, how deadly his 100 dime all-in max wager plays have been in college and pro. Well, guys, Rick actually lost a play yesterday. Yeah, had Wisconsin, lost it. So what does that mean? Since he joined the site 2.5 seasons ago, he is now 24-6 with the college football max wager 100 dime or higher release plays. 24-6 overall, 22-7 with the 100 dime plays, 3-1 this season, 7-1 last year. 100 dime plays, NFL and college football combined. After losing with Wisconsin, he's now won 15 of his last 19. If you can't live with that, well, damn it, I don't know what you can possibly do. Every now and then the guy is going to lose, and it happened yesterday with the Badgers. So with all that being said, let's turn our attention to the first of today's complimentary plays. And guys, I'm going to go with the New York Jets as today's best play. You know, I jokingly called yesterday's play on Miami of Florida, if not now, when? Because if Miami of Florida wasn't going to finally beat Florida State with the Seminoles having an awful season and Miami of Florida looking like a half-assed decent team, if not when, if not now, when? Well, I think the same axiom applies to the Jets. If you can't beat the New England Patriots, which you already did once this season, 24-3 at home, and running up over 400 total yards in that contest, if you can't do it again in Foxborough today, what can you say? I mean, this is your opportunity because the Jets have lost 4 straight since then. You've added Devontae Adams. Hassan Reddick's going to make his debut today. Hey, He's better than something, better than nothing, right? The Jets, of course, they looked good for a half last week at Pittsburgh. 15-6 they were up, and then, of course, the Steelers ran off the 31 unanswered points to win that game. When you look at the four straight losses, I will give you this. Now, the loss at home to Denver in inclement weather, that was a horrible game. And I know I had the Jets that day. Okay. Losing at Minnesota, losing at home to Buffalo, losing at Pittsburgh, wasn't like they were playing the bottom of the barrel teams, not like they were playing Carolina every single week. Look at what the Patriots have done lately. They're coming off the 32-16 loss in London last week against Jacksonville, a game that they led 10-0 early. Their head coach calls them soft. They come back from London. That travel can't possibly help. They've lost 6 in a row. 4 of the last 5 losses have been by 16-point margins or more. Jacksonville, 171 yards rushing in that game. Jets interim coach wants to reemphasize the ground game. Breece Hall has been getting more totes. I think that will definitely be in play today, unless they're totally moronic. So I'm going to go with, again, the Jets. Listen, Trevor Lawrence, who has had an inconsistent season, went 15 for 20, 193 yards, 1 interception, wasn't even touched, not sacked once by the Patriots. And Jacksonville had control of the ball 33 plus minutes. I think the Jets can cover this number with ease. -7, and again, that line crosses 7. I'm buying down the half point. With the Jets, they're your top play today. Next game. Speaking of the Carolina Panthers, who are awful, I'm going to go with Denver, and I'm going to lay the 11 points at home. The Broncos have played well. Look at what they did at New Orleans last week. That was an injury-riddled New Orleans team starting a rookie quarterback in Spencer Rattler. They sacked him 6 times, right? Held the Saints to 271 total yards in that contest. Well, today you've got Bryce Young returning to the starting lineup because Andy Dalton was in that car accident, right? Bryce Young, does he have any confidence? Do the Carolina Panthers have any confidence in Bryce Young, too? This team has a lot of injuries, meaning Carolina. They haven't been able to do anything with Young at quarterback. Why not take Denver, a team that is number 2 in the league in sacks, a team that has played so well defensively, a team that is still trying to find its footing offensively? I do think they'll be able to run the ball today, by the way, against Carolina, that's allowing a league-high 162.1 yards rushing per game. And they ran the ball effectively, if you may recall, last week at New Orleans, 225 yards, 6.4 yards per carry, and Javonte Williams, 14 carries, 88 yards, and Bo Nix had 10 carries for 75 yards. Listen, Nix is far from an accomplished passer, far from a polished quarterback. But as long as he's got his wheels, that makes Denver a threat. Playing at home, playing with confidence, a team that has won 4 of its last 5 games, I got to lay the wood here with Denver. Your next play, I'm going to go with Atlanta. -2.5 at Tampa. Did the Falcons just get crushed at home by Seattle? Snapped their 3-game win streak? Yes, they did. But let's remember the first meeting. It was 36-30 in overtime in Atlanta back on October 3rd, and Kirk Cousins shredded that Tampa Bay defense. Career high, what was it? 508 yards, I believe, and 5 touchdowns in that 4 touchdowns, 509 yards for Kirk Cousins. Now, Cousins struggled last week against Seattle. 2 interceptions, was sacked 3 times. Not only is Cousins going to be playing with confidence today, as are the Falcons, but Tampa Bay is coming in off the short week, the Monday night loss to Tampa, and that game was not nearly as close as the 41-31 final would lead you to believe, because remember, it was a 41-18 game in the fourth quarter before a couple of garbage time touchdowns made it a more respectable score for Tampa. And when you consider that Tampa was up 10-0, how Baltimore just took control of that game, I'm not saying that Atlanta can do that, but consider this. Tampa lost its 2 top wide receivers in that game. And those 2 guys had 10 catches for 126 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first meeting. And Baker Mayfield has 5 interceptions in his last 2 games. That defense for Tampa gave up 508 yards to the Ravens on Monday night. I'm going to go with Atlanta. And even if Kirk Cousins returns to normalcy, I do believe that the Falcons are going to be smart enough to look at the box score just like me and just like I'm going to tell you and see that, oh my gosh, the Ravens ran for 244 yards. They averaged 8.1 yards per carry. We've got this Robinson guy. I think we can hand the ball to him 20 times, and I think he can average 4.5 yards a tote. So I think that, this is a good play taking Atlanta minus the 2.5 points. So that is going to be your next complimentary play. Remember, guys, I'm running these in chronological order for you in the way that I like them most. FYI, if you'd like to get my top play today and all the plays of all the handicappers today, and you've never made a purchase before, over at DeMarcosports.com, you see it at the bottom of the screen, the 2-day free all access pass. That gets you all the plays and the all access pass, which today costs $109 for free. You pick today, and actually, you can pick any 2 days. The choice is yours. Maybe you don't want today. I would take today. Today and any other day, your choice for free, no strings attached. You get my plays, all the plays of all the handicappers for free. The all access pass, 2 days. If you have any questions, check it out and contact customer service over at DeMarcosports.com. So what have I given you so far? I've given you the best play is going to be the Jets. I've given you Denver. I've talked about Atlanta. And that brings me down to the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, they're on the road again. They're coming off the Monday night win at Tampa. They've won and covered 5 straight games. And, I was reading something interesting here about Baltimore. They have outrushed their first 7 opponents this year by over 100 yards per game. That's a new NFL record. The old record, 4 games by any one team. They have topped 150 yards, I believe, in every single game this season on the ground. They had 508 total yards at Tampa, as I just told you earlier, 244 on the ground. Lamar Jackson was great at Tampa the other night. 17 carries, 22 yards, 281 yards, 5 touchdowns. Derrick Henry, that guy that was supposedly washed up, yeah, not quite. Just 15 carries, 189 yards, 169 yards. Do you think that Cleveland's offense is suddenly going to be coming out blazing just because Jameis Winston is taking over for Deshaun Watson? I don't think so. So I'd be willing to lay the 8.5 points with Baltimore. In fact, I'm surprised this game dropped from 9.5 to 8.5. Go figure. So Baltimore would be your last play. So before I get to the teaser, let's recap the plays in order. Again, the Jets would be number 1. Denver would be number 2. Atlanta, number 3. And Baltimore, number 4. Now, I don't believe in double dipping. And when I say double dipping, I mean that I don't believe in playing a team that I would play straight up, putting them in a teaser. So let's say if I had the Jets as my top play today, there's no way in the world that I would put the Jets in a teaser. But maybe the Jets aren't your top play. How about this, though? How's this teaser grab you? A 2-team, 7-point teaser, taking the Jets, and ask yourself this. Are the Jets going to lose at New England? No. I just don't see that happening. I'd be shocked. Of course, the way Aaron Rodgers has played this season, anything's possible, right? But I like the Jets, and I would tease them with Baltimore because that gives you the insurance with the Ravens that could they possibly have a letdown game? It's always theoretically possible. But now, by taking Baltimore down from 8.5 to 1.5, I'm just asking the Ravens to win at Cleveland against a bad Browns team. And that's what I'm always looking for in teasers. I like taking those 6 to 10-point favorites, maybe 10, sometimes in that 9-point range, I'm a little more comfortable, and taking them in a 7.2 team teaser and reducing the favorites. That's just my style. It's worked for me for years, and I think that's the most effective way to play that teaser. The Jets and Baltimore taking them down. Before you go, just a couple other things I want you to consider today. The LA Chargers look interesting, right, against New Orleans. New Orleans, you know what happened last week. They were just absolutely destroyed. They're starting Spencer Rattler for a 3rd straight game. But before you jump on the Chargers bandwagon, I want you to consider this. The Saints are going to be the healthiest they have been in a number of weeks. They were without 3 starting offensive linemen last week. They get 2 of those guys back. They were without 2 of their starting wide receivers last week. They get 1 of those guys back. Most importantly, they get Taysom Hill back for, I think, for the first time since week 3 this season. He really is such a crucial part of their offense. I'm not saying that the Saints can stay within that number, but it certainly gives them a better chance with a rookie quarterback making his 3rd ever start to be competitive against the Chargers. The other game that I think you have to be aware of is the Detroit game. Is Detroit head and shoulders better than Tennessee? Absolutely. Would I lay 11.5 points with the Lions today? Absolutely not. Why? They're playing Green Bay next. And by the way, then they play Houston the next week. And that's definitely a look ahead situation. And sooner or later, the Lions have to have a letdown. Has to happen. I mean, you're coming off that thrilling 31-29 win at Minnesota, right? Before that, you had the revenge win 47-9 at Dallas. Before that, they had a bye and they had the big 42-29 home win against Seattle. And in those 3 games, Jared Goff has just been phenomenal, right? Just phenomenal. 887 yards, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Sooner or later, though, there's going to be a clunker. Could it be today against a team that they know they can beat handily, without any issue, and casting an eye forward with the Green Bay game coming up? That's what worries me. So that's why the Detroit and the Chargers picks, which seemed so obvious when I started the week, once I handicapped the games, that put me off. So there you go. Good luck, everybody, and we'll talk to you again soon.